lead us in our pledge, and they are Melody Justice. Melody, come on up to the podium. And Gabby, I can't read, is it Batroni? Yeah. Wonderful. Please stand if we have a moment of silence.
As we have a moment of silence, Mr. Senator Rebecca Campbell, one of our employees lost her husband this week, so let's remember their family.
Girls, go ahead and lead us. Thank you.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At our September meeting, we opened nominations for chair and vice chair. These nominations require no second, and as we, here in a minute, open the floor, I will compile a list of nominations. We will vote on each in the order that the nominations are received, and once a member receives a majority vote, then they will become the chair and take over the meeting as it moves forward. So at this time, I will open the floor for nominations for chairman of the board. Yes, sir.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Josh Cameron.
Any other nominations for chair? Dean?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Bradley. Can I explain why?
Sure.
I've been on the board for 4 years. When I came on the board, I don't know where I'm at half the time. But Mr. Bradley explains stuff. He helped me where I don't know what's going on to actually, I guess he's a teacher, so he would kind of explain to me and kind of help me make my decision which way I wanted to go. So all I want to do is say thank you, and I would like to be
Thank you,
here.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other nominations for chair?
May I comment on, I love Josh. Him being a school teacher at Knoxville, and chairman of our school board, how would that affect our meetings? So, is there any problems? Anybody see any problem? I do. I mean, we have a call meeting or something.
Any other nominations? All right, we'll close for nominations and we'll start the vote. First nominee, Josh Cameron for chair. Raise your right hand for a yes vote for Josh Cameron. And Josh Cameron will be chair on 4. Those no votes, 4-3 vote. Josh Cameron is chair. Josh, if you want to take over the meeting, and
Yeah.
Shuffle.
you're fine, Cody. You're
No,
fine.
you can stay right
Yeah,
there.
he needs to be up here.
I can see from here. All right, we'll take nominations for vice chair, same manner. So are there any nominations for vice chair? Hard.
I'd like to nominate Doug Ibbotson.
Doug Gibson has been nominated. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote on Doug Gibson. All those in favor of Doug, vice chair, please raise your right hand. 5 in favor, all opposed. 2 against, so Doug has been elected as vice chair. All right. First off, I appreciate the confidence that everybody's put in me. The next portion of the meeting is going to be the public input portion. And before we get started, I'd like to read something, and I was going to request to read this, but since I'm in this position now, I'll read it. I love America, I love our Constitution, and I love Tennessee. And I want to read you what somebody said about our Constitution here in Tennessee. Thomas Jefferson described the Tennessee Constitution as the least imperfect and most Republican of the state constitutions. So for Thomas Jefferson, one of our founding fathers, to say we have one of the best state constitutions at the time says a lot. So in regards to that, I know we've got a lot of people here tonight wanting to speak and wanting to speak their minds, speak their hearts. Our Constitution here in Tennessee, Article 1, the Declaration of Rights, Section 23, that the citizens, you all, have a right in a peaceable manner to assemble together for their common good, to instruct their representatives, and to apply to those invested with the powers of government for redress of grievances or other proper purposes by address or remonstrance. You're guaranteed that right by our state constitution, and I appreciate you being here to take part in that right. So with that being said, some of y'all that may have not been here and know how addressing the board goes, we have a board policy, 1.404, appeals to and appearances before the board. And this is just a summarizing of it. Individuals speaking to the board shall address remarks to the chair and may direct questions to individual board members or staff members only upon approval of the chair. Each person speaking shall state his name, his or her name, address, and subject of presentation. Individuals desiring additional information about any item on the agenda shall direct such inquiries to the office of the Director of Schools. Each person speaking shall state their name and address. During said that remarks will be limited to 3 minutes unless time is extended by the board. The chair shall have the authority to terminate the remarks of any individual who is disruptive or does not adhere to board rules. Personal attacks of board members or school employees will not be allowed. That's board policy. So please keep that in mind when you come up here. How many people do we got? 8 people. All right. So you don't care, you can call the first.
David Seal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Cameron on his election to chair. I'm David Seal, 730 San Martin Road in Dandridge, commenting on prayer of school board meetings. To prevent the school board from having an opening prayer at meetings, Jefferson County Schools relies on an outdated religious freedom case, Coles versus Cleveland Board of Education, decided by 2 ultra-liberal Clinton-appointed judges on the 6th Circuit Federal Court of Appeals. The case was based on the entanglement doctrine, the staple of Justice Sandra Day O'Connor's approach. That doctrine is based in part on the Lemon Test decision from 1971, another case decided by an activist court. The Lemon Test is now obsolete. We now have a Supreme Court that understands free expression and the expression of First Amendment. So I'm reading, so just for time. O'Connor's separationist philosophy and the entanglement doctrine set by the Lemon case have been replaced by the coercion doctrine. That was established in Greece versus Galloway in 2014 and reinforced by the Kennedy versus Bremerton case in 2022. Coercion is now the new test for the violation of the Establishment Clause. If you open a board meeting with a prayer, will godless progressives come forward and oppose you? Yes, these people care more about preferred pronouns than they do constitutional principles. But don't let that discourage you. Case law and the Supreme Court are now on the side of religious freedom. I'm willing to meet with any of you one-on-one and explain these court decisions line by line and point by point. I trust that you previewed the cases that I linked to you, and I urge you to open your meetings with a personal prayer if you see fit. I'd like to share one sentence from the case that I cited, Town of Greece versus Galloway from 2014. And this is Justice Anthony Kennedy writing for the majority. Legislative bodies do not engage in impermissible coercion merely by exposing constituents to prayer they would rather not hear and in which they need not participate. Concerning the 917 Society, the Constitution booklets on your desk were provided by 917. I'm a proud member, and we're providing nearly 1 million copies to eighth grade students across the nation, including students here in Jefferson County. In fact, they were delivered today. Thank you all again.
All right, who's our next person?
Bradley Newman.
Bear with me, this is my first time up here. I'm Bradley Newman, 2021 North Sizer Avenue, Jefferson City, apartment 217. I'm here today in regards to Jefferson Elementary and the discussions I've had and the tours I've had of that building. We moved here. I moved here for a job in Hawkins County with my wife working out of Oak Ridge. We found this place to be the best middle point for both our choices of employment. And when the news broadcast came apart over the conditions of the school, I started making phone calls and tours. I've talked to you, Dr. Arnold, over all this, in discussions that have been said and things that I have seen there, and money for all these other things y'all can't. I'm trying not to tap. We got holes in windows in the school. Did y'all know this? We've put it on Facebook. That's the only way we've been able to get anything done. Stairs broken for emergency exits. Some classrooms have them. The ones right next door doesn't. Question is why? What makes one classroom more important? Why is there, when I walked around the building on the outside of it, is there a claw hammer laying in a window at the fire exit? I'm assuming the window can't open. Talking with you, Mr. Arnold, over the fans in the gym, and you stated it was a misspoke over the windows versus the doors. There's a singular fan, and how are we able to talk or educate these children in the gym with a 4-foot box fan running in a gym that is echoing already? That is not a fix. That is a Band-Aid, and a really terrible one at that. I don't feel that the school is safe in any way, any manner, because there should be MSDSs there in that building that tell us what is and is not asbestos. And without that, we have to assume that the entire building is asbestos. I feel like that word has not been mentioned enough here tonight. The mold that is in the rooms. We have seen pictures of rugs covered in mold, and the teacher that had to pay for that out of her own pocket had to throw it away because we're not doing anything unless we put it on Facebook or get the news in here. But yet we're able to go add on to these other schools that we're not even at capacity yet. We're adding things on here, doing things there, and we're neglecting JES. With that being said, I have pulled my daughter out of the school, and to keep her away from Jefferson County, I have moved her into Hawkins County Elementary as of Monday, because I do not want her under any else jurisdiction. Thank you.
Who's next?
Michelle.
Michelle Jeanette, I live off Well Springs Road. At the last school board meeting, the topic of prayer before the meeting was brought up. It was said the reason there wasn't prayer was because we cannot pick one religion over another, and that our Constitution says government cannot establish a religion. I've just handed out a booklet that, if you don't mind reading, that is very explanatory. It clearly explains and dispels this myth that is commonly known as separation of church and state. The booklet talks about the original drafts of the First Amendment. The original version stated Congress shall not make any law establishing any religious denomination. The second and third versions were similar, but they finally settled on what we know: Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Notice it is Congress, not just any government leaders, who are forbidden from establishing religious laws. A prayer before a meeting does not establish a law. The phrase separation of church and state is nowhere to be seen in our founding documents. That phrase comes from a letter written to the Danbury Baptist by President Thomas Jefferson in 1801. Jefferson was responding to their concerns that centralized government would act like it had the power to dictate religious thought and practice, instead of Americans having that inalienable right which comes from God. Jefferson assured the Danbury congregation that there was a wall of separation of church and state, but it was there to prevent an established or mandatory national denomination and to prevent government intrusion. Clearly, the word religion had been used interchangeably with denomination throughout the discussions on the First Amendment. Jefferson said, "Can the liberties of a nation be thought secure if we have lost the only firm basis of conviction in the minds of the people that these liberties are of a gift of God?" Dr. Benjamin Rush, the father of public schools, was adamant that schools teach from the Bible, and he said it best: "In contemplating the political institutions of the United States, I lament that we waste so much time and money in punishing crimes and take so little pains to prevent them through education." But kids are being taught a religion in many schools today. It's a religion that is dictated by the state called secularism. This idea says there is no higher power to answer to. It teaches division of groups. It focuses on self, more than training up good citizens who love this unique country and their fellow mankind. In closing, our founders did not believe that the Bible should be pushed to the margins of public life. In fact, it was the opposite. They knew the heart of mankind had a propensity for selfishness and evil, and the best antidote was to teach from the Bible. They never intended for our government to function absent the morals of Christianity and the Bible. With these facts in mind, the least we can do is to bring prayer back to the beginning of the meetings. I hope the board will consider this. Thank you.
Ken Morton.
Since the mind can absorb what the seed can do, I'm gonna try to keep this short. I'm Ken Morton, 604 Boxwood Lane, Jefferson City, School District 3. I appreciate that all of you serve on the board and get so much criticism, so little thanks, and so few resources. Few people are able or willing to do that. I've never been to a school board meeting before. I have no family ties to the schools. My only financial ties, I pay taxes. I'm here because I've been hearing about the poor condition of Jefferson Elementary. I think those kids and teachers must have a safe place to learn and work, even if it costs me more in taxes. Now, I say this for 3 reasons. We just pledged allegiance a while ago. It includes liberty and justice for all. Justice is not limited to criminal justice. It means fairness and equality for all, especially children. Justice sounds kind of like just as. Every school must be just as good as the others. No school should be left behind. Number 2, this country is known, that this county is known for its patriot teams and its patriotism in general. The love of country, a lot of people here have sacrificed their lives or being willing to do that. Compared to that kind of sacrifice, it ought to be easy to give our children and teachers the best possible schools to educate our country's future citizens and leaders. Number 3, I know it sounds religious, but for me, I sang a little song as a child, and you did too. It starts out, Jesus loves the little children, all the little children of the world. I think the point's obvious. In summary, I think that justice, patriotism, and love to Jesus are all saying the same thing. The whole county got to come together in a hurry to solve the problem at Jeff Elementary. And I intend to keep saying that.
Taylor Hackbarth.
My name is Taylor Hackbarth, 764 Lakewood Drive, Jefferson City. Josh, Doug, we've spoken on the phone. I've reached out to almost all of you. You two called me back, and I wanted to thank you for that. Speaking on behalf of Jefferson Elementary, I want to know that we have formed a parent coalition that's pushing 700 parents. Not just parents, but county residents. But honestly, people have had enough. A very large law firm, international law firm, is coming to town next week, taking a strong interest in the health and safety of our school. I know for a fact that school makes kids sick. I pulled both of my daughters out of that school 2 weeks ago. One was looking at surgery for constant respiratory issues caused by the mold in the school because we can't have air conditioning. I don't care if the kids are hot in the gym. Air conditioning kills mold. End of it. The state of the school is ridiculous, guys. And you expect us to see broken stairs, broken windows, moldy rugs, as these guys have already said. We're supposed to trust the asbestos management to the same people that have let this school get in the state that it's in? I want to see an immediate action, and I think the other 700 parents behind me do as well. Can I just ask everybody that's in support of the school to stand up so they can see who's here tonight? This isn't normal. And we're not going to stop coming, and we're going to come in bigger numbers.
Amen.
I would like to ask, as an emergency measure, to bring back distance learning. During COVID, I took advantage of that with my children. They never fell behind. They were ahead of the public school. Why not give the parents an option to get their kids out of the school that makes them sick? I think that should be put in place tomorrow and supported by the staff at the elementary school. There's excellent teachers in that school. They're suffering as well. On behalf of all these parents, please, after 8 years of kicking this down the road, making up excuses, saying that we can't bring it up to code so we're going to do nothing, it's time, guys. You work for us. We elected you in this position. Please do the right thing. Thank you.
She was supposed to go next, but I think the fair is already done.
Okay.
That's up to you guys.
Did you have anything else?
No, not really after that. Okay. Robbie Pinkerton.
Robbie Pinkerton, 1480 Royal Drive, Jefferson City, Tennessee. I am aware of Mr. Emerson's plan for the Jefferson Elementary School. I'm very aware of it because Mr. David Steele called me when I was on the school board and talked to me about this very plan. But I'm not here tonight to talk about a plan, whether I think it's good or bad, or bring up another plan. I'm here to beg you to listen to what these parents, these children, these teachers need. Please, before you leave this room tonight, discuss giving Dr. Tommy Arnold permission to looking into renting a building to move these children into immediately, these teachers immediately. I'm tired of having a friend come down with cancer at Jefferson Elementary. They could be moved in another building while you all discuss plans, while you get permission to go with a plan, while you carry out the plan. But I've sat there and I know the plan isn't going to happen in 2 or 3 months. It's not probably going to happen in 2 or 3 years. Get them out of the building immediately. Rent a building to put them in till you can get a proper building for them to go into. I know we rented a building when we did construction to the central office. We can do the same thing for Jefferson Elementary. Thank you.
There's a lot of emotion and a lot of disagreement, but I just want to thank you all for what you do, because I know you're sitting there because you care, or you wouldn't be here. I have the privilege, I live on 724 West Deborah Street, sorry, Pam Hester. I have had the privilege of teaching at Jefferson Elementary School for over 20 years. There are so many good teachers there that go above and beyond the challenges of the building to do the job we were all called to do. I do just want it to be safe. And I've been in other schools because when I retired, I started to sub and I got to be in lots of other schools. And last year I got to tutor at Mount Horeb, that beautiful new school. And I know you know this because you've been in nice buildings and you've been in buildings that need repair. The difference in how we felt, how I felt in that clean, nice building. I felt safe. I felt like somebody cared about me and those children, because children, especially the children we serve at Jefferson Elementary, need to know that somebody loves them and cares about them. That school doesn't look like someone loves and cares about them. And I love that school. I love the teachers there. And I know that you want to do the right thing. It's rare that we can agree on something. I think we all agree that this has to happen. And I loved what you said about county commission. We've just got to work together. We all want what's best for children. We know that. And I don't want to be angry and I don't want to blame. I want us to work together to do what's best for the children and these teachers. We've waited too long, and I think we all know that. So if we can just build bridges and find what we can agree on and get this to happen, it needs to happen. And I thank you for your service.
All right, that is it. Thank you all for coming out and speaking your mind. All right, so that moves us to the approval of the agenda, and Mr. Evanson has asked to add the joint conference committee to that, and I believe also we have a JROTC field trip that has been added to that. So is there any...
And a budget amendment.
A budget amendment, yes. Which one is that?
142, number 2, item 1.
142. All right, is there any opposition?
I just wanted to bring note, the same policy is on the agenda, 1.800. It's just an updated version of the school calendar to strike out some language and modify that just a little bit. But just to let you know that that is the same policy, it's just an updated version.
Okay. So is there any objection to adding these?
So moved.
Second?
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Was something added to the agenda besides the items, budget amendment and field trip?
Yes, it was, I just said it was at, Doug
It
had
has
asked
to be,
to have
according to policy,
proposed
1.405 under rules of procedure, there's only two ways that can be added to this agenda. It is by unanimous consent, or we have to vote on.
Yes, that's what we're,
That's what we did.
So who made the motion to add that to the agenda? You made the motion.
he asked to have that added, now we're going
You
through.
made the motion, have to add it to the agenda. Who seconded? I didn't hear. There were a lot of people moving around, I couldn't.
No, when, during the school commissioner, but he has to have that added. I am now asking if it's all right for unanimous consent, or if we need to approve it, or if anybody's got any objections to it. And if anybody's got any objections, then we'll vote.
You said he made a motion.
No.
No, he brought it up and asked it to be added.
Okay.
So is there any
What did you, never mind.
Is there any objection to Doug having the proposed joint conference committee added? So then we can approve that by unanimous consent. All right, and then the budget amendments and the school field trip, I believe. Mr. Jernigan made a motion on that. Danny seconded it. All those in favor of that? All right, that is unanimous as well. Okay, so then that brings us down to the consent agenda items. Is there a move for the consent agenda items to approve the amendments or minutes from the last meeting and the field trips, the JCHS dance team, and the JROTC field trip?
I move.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
by Robert's Rule of Order, I hate to be picky, but you have to ask if there are any corrections to the minutes first before we can.
You're correct. Is there any corrections to the minutes?
Just trying to help you out.
I appreciate it.
Okay, you helped me out some past too.
Nervous a little bit. Is there anything that needs to be changed or added to the minutes? All right. Then we'll look for that motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Evanson's moved to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second? And as seconded, all those in favor, by raising your right hand. That is unanimous then. And that passes. All right, so now we are down to the plethora of policies. I believe Mr. Jernigan is the head of the policy
As
committee.
chairman of the policy committee, we did meet and discuss 24 of the policies. Like I say, most of these changes are state regulated. So I recommend that we accept all 24 on their first reading.
So that means we would need to suspend the rules to pass on the first reading.
So suspend the rules on the first, you just have to do it on all of them.
Is there a second?
I think he had a question.
What was it?
Your motion needs to say, I move to suspend the rules
Yeah.
and approve
First reading.
all these on first reading.
I so moved.
That would be the motion.
Okay.
And Rhonda,
Mr.
I'll
Jones.
probably need to record all those numbers in the minutes, shouldn't I?
Mr. Jernigan has moved to suspend the rules and pass all 24 of the policies that have been updated by the state and TSBA. Is there a second?
Doesn't require a second.
All those in favor? Unanimous on that? Okay, so then we've suspended the rules and passed. Let's see. Nothing on second reading. That brings us down to budget amendments. So we have budget amendment number 1, general purpose fund 141, number 1, items 1 through 15. Is there a motion on the floor for this one?
So moved.
Mr. Evanson's moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hardy. Is there any debate? All right, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 7-4, 0 against. Budget amendment number 1 passes. All right. Number 2 is federal purpose fund 142, number 1, items 1 through 3. Is there a move on the floor for this amendment?
Also adds number 2,
Number
item
2.
1.
Yeah. So we're approving federal purpose fund 142, item number 1, item number 2. All right. So all those in favor? 7-4, 0 against. All
Can I
right.
get that motion and second again, please?
I made the motion.
Danny
Dan
made
made
the
the
motion. Who's second?
Who's second? Doug.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Then number 3 is student nutrition fund 143. And on here I got a number NA, so.
Yeah, there's not any
There's
on
not any.
there.
Okay.
There's, yeah.
Is there a move on the floor for this amendment?
Point of order, I'm not sure what we're looking at here. Is this the one that was added?
No, this is number 3, student nutrition fund
So
143.
there's no student nutrition, there,
Oh,
yeah, there are not any budget amendments in student nutrition. If you can go to number 4, 177.
That's it, that's
all
right.
right.
Yes.
Capital project fund 177, number 1, items 1 through 5. Is there a move on the floor for that one?
So move that.
Mr. Hardy has made a move. Is there a second? Danny has seconded.
Yep.
Any discussion? All those in favor for, budget amendment number 4, capital project fund 177, raise your right hand. 7-4, 0 against. And then that, the 142, number 2, item 1, that was took care of, and the other one, or I just added it in the wrong place. Okay, so there's no unfinished business. That brings us down to new business. And number 1 is Lewis Group to pursue recognition for Piedmont Elementary School. Is there a motion on the floor for that? Bradley has moved to let Lewis Group pursue recognition for Piedmont Elementary School. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Evansson. Is there any discussion? Joe? Mr. Evansson, you got anything? You got anything?
I'm sorry.
You
No,
got
I
anything?
have nothing to say. Go ahead.
All right, anyone else? All right, all those in favor of the Lewis Group to pursue recognition for Piedmont Elementary School, raise your hand. 7-4, 0 against. All right, so then we're to school commissioner committee appointments. So the first one is parliamentarian, 1 board member. Is there a nomination for a parliamentarian? Mr. Evansson.
I nominate Mr. Cameron.
All right. Are there any other nominations? All right. All those in favor of Joshua Cameron being parliamentarian, raise your right hand. 6-4. Opposed? No opposition. All right, now we've got to the PECA, 3 board members. This falls to appointment. So, Coach, would you care Don't wanna do.
I sat through 3 of them, I think somebody else can take it.
I can understand, alright. I'll take on being on there, so that'll add me. Dean,
I can't on this one.
can't do it? Alright. Let's see. Bill, you wanna be on?
No.
May just be me. Paul, you wanna serve?
I will.
Okay. And Dawn, you wanna serve as well?
I'm not even sure.
It's the professional educator collaboration where we go into do the memorandum of understanding, everything between the teachers and school board and school system.
Okay.
All right, so myself, Paul, and Dawn on that one. All right, policy committee, not to exceed 3 board members. I'll say the vice chairman, Mr. Everson, will you accept the place on that? All right.
I served last time, I'll serve again.
I appreciate that. You got Danny, Dawn. Dawn has volunteered, so we have our 3. We got Mr. Everson, Danny, and Dawn on the policy committee. Let's see. Next one, appointment of delegates to the TSBA convention for November, not to exceed 4 board members. I think that's what we're allowed. So anybody want to volunteer to be a delegate that's going to be going? I'll volunteer as a delegate. I've done it the past couple times, so I'll put myself down there.
Is that what we've been doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going.
All right, Danny has put his name in the hat. Anyone else? Paul, and Doug. So myself, Danny, Paul, and Doug. And then appoint to the Tennessee Legislative Network 1 representative. I believe Doug's been doing this. You're not interested in?
I think I'm gonna be on the policy committee, that'll be good.
All right.
I'll do it.
Dawn has volunteered. Thank you for that. Tennessee Legislative Network representative. Appreciate that. All right. Oh, number 3 on our list here. The
Excuse me.
yes,
Yeah, point of order, could we take up the joint
we can if you want to do it right now, or we
as long as we're
can.
doing committees?
Okay. So the joint conference committee, which Doug has here, and he has his proposal, a board chairman, so I guess that's not myself, 2 board members, and the director of schools. So, besides myself, does anybody,
I'd be happy to do.
Doug has volunteered to be on that proposed joint conference committee, and anyone else? Paul?
Yeah.
Paul will help serve with us, we appreciate that. So we're hoping that the county commission in October will be able to get to that. And we can all start getting together with them and working on the problems we got, so. All right, number 3 is the Disciplinary Hearing Authority Review Board, and we have some names here that are on that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to leave them as is.
There's been a motion to continue with, I'm gonna just read them off here. Michelle Walker, Carrie Trent, Christy Walkie, Ron Overton, Melanie Simpson, Kendra Kisbeth, and Julie Allen. Is there a second? Second from Danny, I hear that. All right, is there any discussion, debate? All those in favor of these people being appointed to the Disciplinary Hearing Authority Review Board, raise your right hand. All right, that's 7-4-0 against. All right, So now we're down to number 4, which is Jefferson Elementary School. So is there any?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to request 15 million from our county commissioners, utilizing 1 million set aside for the Jefferson Elementary School in reserve account, with additional 11.3 million from our school fund balance, making a total of $27.3 million for the building of a new school in Jefferson City.
Can you pass that down here now?
I second.
Second is on the floor there from Dr. Bradley. All right, you got the floor?
We've talked about this, talked about it, we've asked the county commissioners, and I think it's time to do something. This is 6 motions that's been made from our school systems, and all 6 of them have been refused by our county commissioners.
You got anything to say, Coach?
Yes. How long have I got, 6 minutes?
If you need it.
I don't need I'm just killing time to do the math. The number just quoted is, I think, with that motion, 45% of that new building is being funded by this building. Everybody agree with that? So that means if you subtract 45 from 100, you get 55, like showing the math skills. That means the county commission then would be hopefully obligated to provide us with $15 million in funding to complete the project. So, I agree with Bill. There's been several motions made starting in 2020 that all arose from the needs assessment. It was done in 2019, which I forgot to bring. I wanted to give you the old numbers so you don't have an idea. The numbers are worthless now. But the first motion that was made was to build 2 new elementary schools, Jeff Elementary and Piedmont, for $30 million. There were no plans, no architect, no nothing. It was, and the county commission turned it down, which was a good decision, I think. It was nothing. The second motion was the plans that you received tonight. And I believe both of those motions were made in 2020. And that one, I think, was for 1909. And we came back next year or the year after was the third one with the 4 classrooms. So we've been making motions. It's not like we haven't done it. Of course, last year, I think y'all were here, we made the motion. We got it down to $18 million by grabbing money from here, there, and about. So I just like to end by saying with a quote made by John Wayne in my favorite movie, The Cowboys, where he said, "We're burning daylight and we need to get this done. We really do." And I hope the county commission will fund this $15 million and we can get this new school started. Thank you.
I know that there's a motion on the floor to build a school. Hopefully it passes. I want to see a school built. But in the meantime, Dr. Arnold, would you check about, I call them flat tops, they're portable buildings, I don't know what else you call them, about bringing them in, getting these kids out of school. What do we have to do it? We have parents here that, for the safety of their children, that's what they're asking. I don't know what it would cost us for these buildings, but if it delays the school being built to get these buildings in, I think we need to have it done.
Going back to the county commissioners 6 times, the same thing over and over. I feeling we're gonna see the same answer until we start handing them what they've asked for over and over and over. And I think that, you know, I personally don't feel like going back to them and looking like a fool, not handing them what they want. The needs assessment back in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, was a little over $3 million for Jefferson Elementary. 3.1 if I'm not mistaken. I have to agree with Danny that, no, I really don't I have to agree with Danny. We need to figure out what to do with these kids now. And whether it be renting a building, a church, I know in the past, we've used churches. And, you know, if we can find a church that's set up that can accommodate these kids while we figure out what to do, while we get county commission to give us money to do whatever, I think that's what we need to do. We need to figure out what to do with these children and the employees now. And work with the county commission to see what it is exactly they want, to see how much they'll give us, so that we know what we need to do.
Yeah, I am on record as supporting every proposal we've sent to the county commission requesting money for a new school. I have not veered on that at all. But I do think we're putting the cart before the horse. The problem is the kids in the school. The cause of the problem is the building. We need to take care of the problem, which is getting the kids out of the school. And I have a prepared motion that I'll bring up after we discuss this that will deal with that. I do not feel, and Mr. Hardy said pretty much what I was going to say. We keep going back to them asking for money, but they have asked us over and over and over again for options. All right, we've not given them any. I think it's a new day. We don't need to replow old ground. What we need to do is give them what they've asked for, and I also have motions prepared for that. Give them what they've asked for, so they have the numbers on the new school, which they have. They have the number on rehabilitation, which we need to get them, and they've asked for numbers on the plan to build the new wing on the high school. They actually voted on that and requested us to send those. We need to get that. We need to get them 3 sets of numbers. We need to get 2 sets of numbers because they already have the one. Once they have that, just like Mr. Hardy said, they can tell us, okay, based upon what we see here, this is how much money we're willing to give you. Once we know how much money we got, then we can decide what to do. But we've spent, what, 6 years? And we're no further along than we were before, because we are not, it's like going to the banker saying, I want $1 million. He says, well, yeah, I can see where you want $1 million, but I need a few more pieces of paper. You're not going to get those pieces of paper. You're going to get me the $1 million. You ain't getting very far that way. And we haven't gotten very far that way. So I don't think going back and asking for more money when we haven't given them what they've been asking us for is a is a way to generate goodwill going forward. Thank you.
Anyone else? I have a question about the remark about building onto the high school. Have we ever sat here and as a committee or as a group and voted to have plans to rebuild a pod to the high school? The answer is no. Have we ever voted to move the grammar school to the middle school? The answer is no. Have you ever voted to move the middle school to the Patriot Academy and close the Patriot Academy and move him back into high school? The answer is no. You're talking about $15 million tonight to start that school in Jefferson City. All these ideas about building on the pod at the high school, you're talking what, 12, $15 million? To fix the Patriot Academy, you're gonna have to build a football field, stadium, you're talking about another $1 million. To refix the high school, or the middle school in Jefferson City, you're talking about $2 or $3 more million. You're talking about a whole lot more $15 million to do what has been mentioned about moving pods and building pods. This building pod stuff and moving kids from Jefferson City to Danridge, would you want to move your parents or kids from Jefferson City to Danridge and close the grammar school in Jefferson City? What's your answer, Mr. Cameron?
If it took getting them out of there immediately, yes.
They've had the opportunity to get those kids out of there since 19 or 18 or something. We started talking about the school and the situation it was in. All we've done is sit here and talk. We just talk. These ideas of moving school from school and adding and all the money it's gonna take to fix these schools, to move those kids, that's the most foolish thing I've ever heard in my life. And I do not agree with, we've asked the county commissioners to remodel the school. We came up with a figure of $17 million to remodel that school in Jefferson City. We're asking for $15 million tonight. We could give more if we have to. Listen, let's move forward on that thing like it is.
Yes. I'm gonna hurt somebody's feelings, but anyway.
I didn't say what I said, hurt anybody's feelings.
You know, all this, let's work together. Great, sounds good. Let's build a fire and make s'mores, you know? We do our job and the county commission has their job.
Right.
Two different things, okay? We as a school board have to assess the need. Then we offer a solution, and then it's our job to provide them with a number. That's what we do. And we give it to the county commission. I've served on the county commission. I know then they have a job of coming up with money or saying no. That's how it works. There's a procedure. Yes, we work together. Is that mine? I'm not talking to her. We do work together. And I agree with Bill on one thing. There is only one motion in place, and that is to build a new Jefferson Elementary School. That's the only action we can do. I've not heard another motion. I'm not supporting another motion. I haven't heard anything. I've heard a lot of talk. Okay. So the motion to build a new Jefferson Elementary School, don't like to cut off words like that, is on the books. It is enforced. The Lewis Group has made schematic designs. We've got to a certain point, and we can't move forward without any money. I don't think $15 million would remodel Jeff Elementary School. I've had two problems with remodeling that school. I hate to keep repeating myself, but as a teacher for 38 years, there's some classrooms in the old part of that building that are 700 square feet. They're too small. The foundation, I don't know how far down we'd have to go. Jefferson County, on that north side of the county, there's tunnels everywhere. And when I was at Carson Newman, I remember the infield, the baseball field, is sunk in one day. It disappeared. So I don't know what we've got going on underneath that building, and nobody really knows until we start digging what that would cost. But my big thing is the size of the classrooms, the old part of the school. I think the recommendation from most architects, they will tell you a minimum of probably 800 square feet, 850, somewhere in that range. And we also have, before we, and I've got this document somewhere, we have, give me a second, it's like my math. We have a document that's been approved by the board, a list of items that need to be done. I looked at it a while ago. In that list is that those classrooms be enlarged from 700 to 800 square feet, and And there's a whole list of things that the board has passed that has to be in that renovation process. And I had that copy here a minute ago, and I found it there somewhere. Tom, you didn't get it, did you? But anyway, there's a lot of work to that school, to remodeling that school, a lot of work. And somebody makes a motion, but, you know, to look at the cost, I'd go for it, sure. I understand, they need another number, just give another number. Well, it hasn't been 6 years, it's been 4 years since the first motion was made. You said 6, I don't need me to be picky. But if somebody else would make a motion, that's fine. The only thing we got is the motion that was made in 2020. It's still there, right? And it was amended from 2 new schools to 1 new school and remodeled Piedmont. Well, I never thought Piedmont would ever be remodeled. And lo and behold, everything worked out right with the federal government giving us a lot of money. We was able to do that. It was a blessing to get that money. We have taken a lot of money out of our fund balance. And $15 million, you know, it's gonna be hard to beat that number doing anything else, in my opinion. But I can't quote numbers I don't know. It'd take professionals like Todd to give us numbers, you know, that are realistic. So, I'm done. My 6 minutes is up.
I just have one question. Didn't we, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't we send to the county commissioners that we would do a quote estimate where they wanted, but we wanted them to pay half? Did we do that?
Yes, sir.
And they turned us down on it?
Yes, sir.
We was only asking for half with them. I mean, you know, I'm for whatever we need to do. If we need to pay it all, then let's pay it all. Let's get the school built. Let's get the kids out of that school. Let's just do something here.
I may would say one more thing. We did make, did you want to? No.
Go ahead.
That was a good example of working together, but it didn't happen. Because, yes, I wanted to get the number. I did. I really did. And they want the number. So why not pay half? Why not share? But it never made it out of the budget committee for the full county commission. But that's a good example where we could work together and got a number. And that would have been 2 years ago, but it didn't happen. Now I'm done.
Okay, there's been some people saying, well, you know, 15 million won't remodel the school. We don't know. We've never got the estimate because we've never got that scope of work in anybody's hands. So that's speculation. There's also speculation about you're building a wing on the school will cost this much or that much. We don't know because we've never done a scope of work as to what would have to be done to those campuses, and we've never got that into the hands of anybody who can give us an estimate. That's what I'm trying to do. If it comes down to building a new school, fine. I've never been against building a new school. If it's, you know, but it's going to depend on what we can get from the county commission, and what we get from the county commission is going to depend on what we get to them. All right? So that's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you, I brought up the idea of building a new wing on the school, but everybody was deadlocked. But I got into this, you know, just to open up the door and begin talking about it again. If we do that, fine. If we don't, that's fine too. But we need to get numbers to the people who have the money so they can give the money to us. Until we have that, we've got nothing. And I think the way to do that, all right, is rather than go back with another request for specific dollars when we haven't given them what they've asked us for over the last 4 years.
Thank you.
It's futile. So, you know, I 100% agree with Danny. We need to get the kids out of that school. Once the kids are out of the school, we've got an empty building, and we can then not take our time. But we, you know, the emotional factor over, the health factor is over. The kids are in a conducive learning, an atmosphere conducive to learning, and then we can move on. So, thank you.
You've had your 2 times, but I'll let you go.
Can I just say this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jefferson Elementary is on the agenda. You can make a motion anytime you want to.
I tried to.
Okay? Make it. Let's
Well,
go.
we're in the middle of a motion right now. We're discussing, Mr. Johnny.
Get through voting, yes, you are correct, this morning.
I'm gonna restate the motion that Mr. Jernigan made, so everybody can remember it. Mr. Jernigan moved to request $15 million from County Commission, utilizing $1 million set aside in Jefferson Elementary School reserve account, with an additional $11.3 million from fund balance, for a total of $27.3 million for a new Jefferson Elementary School to be built on the Jefferson County Fairgrounds property. All those in favor of that motion, please raise your right hand. That would be 2. All those opposed, please raise your right hand. That's 4. And 1 abstention. So that motion fails. Now, is there any other motions for Jefferson Elementary School?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Evans.
I move that the Director of Schools report to this board at the October 2024 regular meeting a plan along with a timeline and cost estimate to temporarily move students out of the existing Jefferson Elementary School.
Yeah, yeah. Is there a second to this?
I didn't, what was the first?
Let me read. I move that the Director of Schools report to this board at the October regular meeting a plan along with a timeline and cost estimate to temporarily move students out of the existing Jefferson Elementary building.
All right. Is there a second? All right, so it's been moved and seconded.
Go from the floor.
That's all right, at least live, don't. All right,
You need all these copies?
I think they were for
You
each.
need all these. Give Rhonda one here, please.
She's paying.
Thank you, Ms. Rhonda.
All right, so the move is that the Director of Schools report to this board at the October 2024 regular meeting a plan along with a timeline and cost estimate to temporarily move students out of this Jefferson Elementary School. Who was it seconded? Danny seconded. All right, any discussion?
May I ask one question?
Yes.
At whose expense?
I think that we would discuss that at the time we hear what the.
At whose expense are we talking about, is what I'm asking.
That's what
We're
I'm
talking about moving our kids. If we had to put trailers over there to move those kids, who's gonna pay for all that?
Once we know what the cost is, then we can discuss that. We don't even know what the cost is.
And really, I don't care what the cost is, whether it be us or county commissioners or who,
That's,
we get the kids out of school.
that's one reason I've been supporting that new school from day one.
Right, I agree with you.
I think we've waited too late, and we're gonna have a fire in the furnace. You heard what the gentleman said right there about what's gonna happen next week. My comments.
Well, my thing is, if we don't get them out of there, whether we build a new school or rehab the old school, they're gonna still be sitting there for 2 to 2.5 years.
I'll agree with you.
We need to get them out of there.
I'll agree
And
with
I'm
you.
asking Dr. Arnold to come back with a plan to do that. That's all this is, that's all I'm doing.
I understand that. I'll agree with that.
I'd like to amend the motion, please.
All right, there's,
Is there a copy down here?
I think there's a couple there.
Danny has a fine one.
Like, would like to amend the motion to, I don't want to put it in here, you might help me a little bit. Amend the motion to put portable classrooms on the fairground site, and then move the students out of Jefferson Elementary School into the portables located on the fairground. Can you get it into a sentence?
I guess we just add that to the end, on,
Yeah,
in
just put a
portables.
just put a comma on there.
In portables on the Jefferson County Fairgrounds.
Yes.
And in portables on Jefferson County Fairgrounds, anything else?
No.
That was it?
That'll do.
All right, so is there a second on this amendment to add in portables on Jefferson County Fairgrounds? Danny has seconded. All right, Coach, you got anything to say on that?
Nope. Speaks for itself.
Danny?
I know we have a lot of people that is really, the Jefferson County Fair is important to everybody. That's what we all know. But these kids are more important than that fair. So if people gets mad because we put portables on the fairground, I'm sorry guys, but these kids are coming before, you know, we can have a fair somewhere else if we need to. But kids are first. So I'm sorry if you get mad over this.
No, I think
I don't understand what's going on. We're talking about putting portables on the fairground. We're talking about building a new school on the fairground. We're gonna put the portables over there and then move them again so we can build a school? Is that what we're talking about? I mean, we put the portables there, where you gonna put the school? Go out here and buy 150.
Is there anywhere we could put the portables?
I'm
And I would need to review a lot of things. One thing I would want to say is, whenever we look to move students out of the building, you know, it's my job to inform you and you know, give you the most information I have. So what reason would we be moving students? Is it asbestos located within a school? You know, if that's the case, we have 6 other schools that have asbestos within them. Is it the fact that mold has been detected in various classrooms within the school building over time? If that's the case, we had mold in every year. We've had mold in some facility, in some classroom, in some kitchen space or something over the course of the year. You know, if some type of water or I mean, like I spoke before about toilets, we have sewer issues that occur all the time within school buildings. And just like at Jefferson Elementary, we had a sewer issue that was a sagging line that was repaired, and then another issue that was a concrete 1958 sewer line that we repaired. If HVAC is the issue, we have, you know, HVAC that's in Maury and Jefferson that is near the same age as that. So I really, you know, want to caution the board about making, you know, we do have accusations that there's things in the building that could cause harm. But we have those things within other buildings also. You remember I sent you a video, you saw it on the news, of Jefferson Middle School Jefferson Middle School lower classrooms where water was flowing out over the panic bar, 4 foot of water in the basement of that building. Things happen, but we go after those issues and repair those issues and fix those issues. You know, we have an asbestos plan that's in place at all of our schools that have asbestos in them. We focus on that. you know, I knew from our plan that that was not asbestos in that school, but it was being publicly judged, and another agency had called us reporting that someone had took a piece of insulation from Jefferson Elementary School and turned it into their company for testing. So if we really want to protect kids, individuals should not be touching piping that they ain't got a clue if it's asbestos or not, and exposing that to our students. They should leave it to professionals. So, you know, we have schools, Jeff Middle, Maury, that are older than Jeff Elementary, structurally by 8 years. So I agree, something needs to be done, but, you know, at what level, at what extent do we go to make that happen? And then what basis does that set for how we move on other facilities within our district and make decisions? Because we as a board set precedent, and whenever we set that precedent, then it's difficult to judge whenever other issues arise.
Exactly what Dr. Arnold said. Dr. Arnold's our CEO, our Chief Executive Officer of the school. All right, I do believe that we owe him the courtesy to come back to us with a plan, rather than to, I'm against this amendment because it says this is what we're going to do. We want to know what the cost is. I don't believe in that. I think Dr. Arnold should come back to us after a month of thought and talking to the various parties involved with a plan to move the kids. If we can agree with that, we can disagree. At that point, we can talk about portables, or we can talk about whatever else, but I think we owe it to him to give him the chance to tell us what he thinks is best. He's there every day. Thank you.
It's been going on for over 4 years. And I know the talk's been going on even farther than that, and the lack of maintenance on Jefferson Elementary has been going on for over 10 years. Major maintenance. I agree with Doug. I think that we give Dr. Arnold the opportunity to give him a month. I mean, we're talking about a month. We're not going to move kids in a month. I think we do need to think about getting those children and the employees out of that school as fast as possible. If it's as bad as it is said it is, I'd be very curious to find out who cut a piece of that asbestos out. I think that needs to be really looked into and pursued, because whoever did that actually put more health and harm into the kids in the air. And you talking about asbestos. If you leave it alone, it doesn't do anything. It has no effect. It's when you disrupt it is when it has an effect. The same thing with lead paint. I think that on top of what Coach said, and I agree with what he said, as a board, we have a certain responsibility. We also have to have a responsibility of listening to our constituents. The whole bunch of them sat up here today and spoke. I heard a lot saying that we need a new school. I heard a lot say that we just need to do something, get those kids out of there. And, I'm just going to keep falling back that I think we send this back to see, give him the opportunity. I think going to the county commissioner without some kind of substance of what they've asked for, I think we're wasting time, where we can move forward in a month and then go back to the county commissioner with something. And I do agree. I think we just need to. I think we need to be active and do something. And we can sit here and debate what we want to do and how much it's going to cost. Take over $11 million out of our balance. That's going to leave us about $5 million left over for the rest of the year. We have a profession group that we have to deal with, and a lot of other projects, Talbot, that we need to deal with. And if we go ahead and just blow out over $11 million, we're not gonna have much money for the rest of the school year to do anything. And maybe not get the hell done, which needs to be done. We can't forget about these other people that still have needs. You know, I'm sure everybody at the Jefferson Elementary feels like they've been forgotten. I haven't forgotten about them. I had one gentleman that stood up there and said he reached out to everybody. I never got a call from anybody from Jefferson Elementary School except for 2 people that I've spoken to. And I told him straight up the way I felt. I'm not against a new school. I'm not against remodeling. We just need to do something now. And we need to do what the county commission's asked. Otherwise, we're gonna go back another month from now after they meet, or 2 months from now. We're gonna be sitting here saying, guess what? We didn't get the money. Maybe they will give us the money. What are we gonna do with it then? We're gonna blow it all and have nothing left for the rest of the year to finish out other projects that we have and wanna do. And there's more than just projects. There's a lot of that we don't know what's coming up. This is my first meeting. This is Don's first meeting. And then we have a whole year here to sit here and start thinking about what we need to do, more than just plucking away $11 million to throw towards something that you know, I think we need to figure out what to do. I'm not a big portable guy fan. I don't think a lot of people here are. But if that's what has to be done, I'm kind of against putting them back in the fairgrounds. I'd like to see if that is an option, putting them closer. But, you know, I think there are other options. Because no matter what we do, it's going to take months. It's not like next month or 2 months from now, those portables will be set up. Those take time to set up and go through inspections and electricity and everything else. I think these are things that, you know, we need to think about. We've heard from the people, and we know what we have, and we know what's happened in the past. And I feel like we just keep going back to an empty well when we go back to the county commissioners without a handful of stuff that they've asked for.
So we're still on the amendment, in portables on Jefferson County Fairgrounds. Has anybody got anything on that? The amendment, that's what we're on. Anybody got anything on that?
I do.
Okay.
Well, you know, I'm listening to people that are wanting the kids out of the school. Now, yesterday, I offered a solution. We're going, you know, say you're talk. I made an amendment. Quickest, simplest way to get them out of the building. This is the best way, I don't know. I don't like portables. We had a building program in 2010, and the goal was to get rid of all portables in Jefferson County. I don't know what else you want to find to put where to put these kids. But now, they want now, I'll offer you now.
All right.
I know what the amendment is, y'all listen. I don't know how to word this. Can we take that amendment back out and let's let Dr. Arnold see what he can do with the next one?
That's what we're voting on. That's what we're voting on.
We can vote on it.
And then if it passes, it's in. If it doesn't pass, then we're back to.
We can go back to the original motion.
All right.
So, look, you don't have to vote for it.
Right,
You understand?
right.
I do, but you don't.
Okay. All those in favor of adding as an amendment in portables on Jefferson County Fairgrounds, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Coach got the one. All those opposed, raise your right hand. That'd be 6 again.
Come on now.
So now we're back to the original motion, that the director of schools report to this board at the October 2024 regular meeting a plan along with a timeline and cost estimate to temporarily move students out of the existing Jefferson Elementary School building. Anything on that? All right, then we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the director of schools report to this board at the October 2024 regular meeting plan with a timeline and cost estimate to temporarily move students out of the existing Jefferson Elementary School building. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, well, that's 7-4-0 again. All right. Is there any more on the Jefferson Elementary School?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, I do. I move to solicit and interview firms interested in providing detailed estimates for renovation to Jefferson Elementary School per this body's approved scope of work guidelines. I'll read it again while you're, I don't know how to get this over to you.
I'll get over it. Alright, so there's a motion to solicit and interview firms interested in providing detailed estimates for renovation of Jefferson Elementary School per this body's approved scope of work guidelines. Is there a second? Mr. Hardy has seconded. Discussion.
We did the scope of work guidelines. The county commission has asked for an estimate, a detailed estimate. I think we need to publish the scope of work, ask who wants to bid on it. We interview them, decide who we want to do it, and have them give it to us so we can give it to the county commission. Give them what they've asked for.
Paul, you got anything that you say?
I agree 100%. I think this is what they've been asking for, and I think this is what they want. I think once we give it to them, then it kind of lays, it's kind of putting the ball in their court. So, I'm all for this.
If we do bring them in and they want $200,000 to do this, can we ask county commission to maybe pay for it?
I think at that point, it's open to, we can ask them, you know.
I mean, they're asking for it, I think they would at least help us with it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. But I think we need to find out who's interested in doing it first. And then we'll find, when we, kind of like we did with perfection. We'll find out what they're gonna cost, and then we'll say, it's worth it, or we're not gonna do it.
Anyone else?
To be clear, we asking for, like on Perfection Group, we did a RFQ, request for qualifications. I heard you mention price, so that would be RFP, request for proposal.
Okay.
So basically, we would, if we do a RFQ, we interview and we determine which group we want to use. If we do a RFP, then we're saying, this is the scope of work we want you to bid on. What would you charge us to go in and find out how much it would cost to do this scope of work renovation?
That's what I'm looking for.
So you're looking for a request for proposal from a company. So that would not be an interview process.
But would it be published so a number of different companies could come in and say, I'm not looking to go to one specific company?
Yeah, so what we would do is we would put out an RFP. So we're requesting a proposal from companies who want to look at, so they would come in and say, $65,000, $110,000, or whatever, to do whatever work is necessary to come up with a proposal that would give you a cost estimate.
A detailed estimate.
Yes.
Detailed.
So you're saying that interview needs to be?
It's tricky.
Okay, so.
You can't interview with
Yeah.
Yeah, there would not be an interview process on a proposal.
So once we get, if we get a company and they come in, they say, okay, we can renovate this school for $20 million, then we can go to county commissioners and say, okay, can we build a school? Is that what we're kind of saying?
Well, I think they're gonna want something a little bit more detailed than that.
Well, I know that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think we just need to give them a price. My question would be, if we do an RFP, who actually decides which of those companies that are,
Lowest price.
or lowest price goes? That's the way
Usually
it goes.
lowest price or,
Best option.
best option.
Okay, and who makes that decision, best option?
Normally it's lowest price. We've worked with several companies, have lots of relationships. If it's a company that we've never heard of and they come in $200,000 or $20,000 less, we would want to at least, they would require everything that they've submitted, so we would review everything, all the documents that they submit. Everybody submits the same documents.
See,
We
I
can call
want to move
references.
this along, but I kind of like the interview process. We've done well with that.
then that would be qualifications.
All right.
You would choose the company,
Yes.
but they don't give you a price until after the fact.
Right, until we choose the one that we want to give us the price,
Yes.
after an interview.
Yes.
Yes.
So we would put something out for qualifications for a company who can come in and give us a renovation cost based on the approved document of the
Yes.
county commission.
That's what I'm looking for.
So
Qualifications.
is mode solicit and interview firms interested in providing detailed estimates for renovation of Jefferson Elementary School per this body's approved scope of work guidelines would fall under the RFQ?
Q, but they would give estimates. They could give estimates later. They're not gonna give it.
Yeah.
Basically, you're just looking at the company. You're choosing a company.
Right.
You're not choosing their proposal.
No.
You're not choosing their price.
Right.
You're choosing a company.
Right. That's right.
So are you choosing a contractor or an architect or, I don't really know what would we be advertising for?
I would think probably,
An engineer? I'm not really sure what we're advertising for. You have to
I
be
would think, well,
specific.
who was going to give us the estimate before? That was Lewis, wasn't it? And they were an architect, so I would probably say an architect.
I would, there's design work, an architect's gonna have to touch it. There's design work within there that talks about, so an architect's gonna have to touch this
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
So
I would
that's
say an
similar,
architect.
what we did with Talbot Elementary and MBI.
Yeah.
Is that what you're
Yes.
looking for?
Yes.
Can I ask a question on that too? I know that you put it out for a bid, an RFP would be for a bid. Are we able to solicit, say that we have three contractors or whoever puts in for a number for the bid, are we able to, solicit, say that there's only one or two only, put in for, are we able to go and solicit like companies and say, hey, we'd be interested in you coming and giving us a
So
price?
when
Can you do
we
that?
advertise it, invitation, is what it's called, an invitation, we advertise it all over the place, and you have to advertise it for 2 weeks, minimum of 2 weeks before you open it. So all those would come in as sealed. We would probably have an idea who the company is that submitted one, because they have to put it on the outside of their envelope. But you would, the advertisement would be out there, it goes everywhere. So if you knew someone, you could tell them there's an advertisement out there.
Okay.
We have a purchasing agent within our department who handles all of those, and she has several connections. So she puts them out on, I don't even know where she puts them, it's on like construction website type things, it's where it goes everywhere. That's what she did when we did the Talbot Elementary.
Okay.
I had to step out, so I'm missing something. We got a motion on the floor requesting an estimate for renovation of Jefferson Elementary School, correct? This here
Move to solicit.
document, I finally found it, has to be included in that motion.
Yeah, I think he's
It
got
says
that
scope of work.
They got, it's titled Scope of Work for Jefferson Elementary
Yeah,
renovation.
it's in
Is
here.
it in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I got it. It's already, I just had to leave.
Oh, it's different.
Any? All right. So all those in favor to solicit interview firms interested in providing detailed estimates for renovation of Jefferson Elementary School or this body's approved scope of work guidelines. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 7-4, 0 against. All right. Is there anything else on Jefferson Elementary School?
My last motion. I move that a scope of work be prepared and presented to this board no later than at the November 2024 meeting, listing the modifications and additions needed at the campuses involved in the plan commonly referred to as the pod plan. And I would,
Read that again, please.
okay, I move that a scope of work be prepared and presented to this board no later than at the November 2024 meeting, listing the modifications and/or additions needed at campuses involved in the plan commonly referred to as the pod plan.
Referred to as what?
What?
Referred to as
The
what?
pod plan, you know, where you add the weight to the high school.
Pod.
Is there a second? We gotta get a second first. Is there a second? Dawn has seconded the motion, so I'll repeat it. That a scope of work be prepared and presented to this board no later than at the November 2024 meeting, listing the modifications and additions needed at the campuses involved in the plan commonly referred to as the pod plan. Discussion.
You didn't say campuses, right? You didn't say, you said high school.
Campuses.
Now, that includes high school,
Yes.
Patriot Academy,
Yes.
Jefferson Middle School,
Yes.
3 different.
Yes.
And you think most of that's $15 million?
I didn't say that. I want to find out how much it's going to cost. That's why I want the scope of work.
In this that you're talking about, say at the high school, you know, about building the pods, we also have to think about the cafeteria,
Right.
the gymnasium.
In other words, all of the work that needs to be done, you know, and this would be done by Dr. Arnold and his staff. You know, they know what we would need at the high school. They know what we would need at the Patriot Academy, and they would know what we would need at the middle school. Now, if I need to put that in there, prepared by the, you know, school administration, I can put, you know, we can insert that in there too. They would go in and say, okay, if we were to do this, this is what we would need at the high school, this is what we would need at the Patriot Academy, and this is what we would need at the middle school.
Do you think that he can actually have that done in a month?
I'm sorry?
Do you think he
2
can
months.
actually?
At the November meeting.
Oh, still 2 months is,
If we want to extend that, I have no problem with the pod, you know, with the time frame. If you want to amend that to December or January, I don't have any problem.
I have a question. Does that involve, closing Jeff Elementary School?
No, all we're doing is getting a scope of work of if we went with the pod plan, what it would cost. It doesn't say anything about Jefferson Elementary School.
Why you need to know that number if it doesn't involve Jefferson Elementary School?
Because I want to know the number in case that's the option we choose.
What is the option?
The option is to move kids from Jefferson Elementary to Jefferson Middle.
Okay, that's what I asked. That involves closing Jefferson Elementary School, right? That's what
If that's the option we determine, we want to go with. I just want to know what it would cost. Again, it's getting costs.
I'm lost, sorry. So basically, forget this number and, get it funded, right?
Well, no,
Then we're gonna move Patriot Academy freshman back to the high school.
Right.
Jeff Middle School to Patriot Academy.
Right.
Jeff Elementary to Jeff Middle School, close Jeff Elementary.
If we decide to do that.
Okay.
If we decide to do that. And the reason we're getting this is because the county commission asked us to get this to them.
Can I point out a weakness in that plan? My
It's
opinion.
your right to say.
Have we done portables yet? I forgot, we've been here so long.
I think it,
I think we covered that one, all right, we'll move on. Okay, let's take Rush Strong, people who drive their kids to school, right? K through 8, 1 stop. White Pine, 1 stop. Maury, Dandridge, 2 stops. Jefferson City folks right now, 1 stop, basically if they had a child in elementary school, middle school, you follow me? There's, you know, now if we
follow that plan and close Jeff Elementary, move the middle school, and move the middle school across the mountain, then we're gonna have some parents that are gonna have to do a lot of traveling to drop. If they've got a family with kids in elementary school and in middle school, and they don't drive, their kids don't drive the bus, then they've got to cross, you follow me? I don't know, it's not a mountain, no, it's a ridge. We're in Tennessee, it's a ridge. But anyway, that's the only problem I see with the plan is some inconvenience. Well, there's some other things,
I think I'll say this much. With any of this, this is not saying, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, not saying this is what we're gonna do. It's just, this is what we can present and say, we got these choices right here. That's the way I'm saying. Now, I think Danny might have a problem on the, November 2024.
Well, that's fine. I have no problem.
So, I mean, if you got a amendment or anything you wanna put forward.
The way I feel is I know what they're asking us. Okay, I don't have a problem giving them what they asked us. But I do think I would like to make an amendment. There's no way that this man right here can have that done by November. I would not even attempt to ask him to do that. I have no idea how long it would take to do something like that. I'll ask this guy, how long would it take you?
I would just need to dig in there and start, I'm gonna have meetings with the high school, meetings with Jeff Middle, evaluation of the buildings and make determinations. So
January?
There was, so alongside that one, there was to report a plan and cost estimate to move kids out of Jeff Elementary School.
Right.
Is that correct? That one's passed. So that's a plan to develop. And then to develop a RFQ for interview firms for the renovation for Jefferson Elementary School. So that's a plan to do in October. And then for November, scope of work be prepared and presented modifications.
What would you think a comfortable time frame for you would be?
We're putting all this other on already.
Right.
So,
I mean, you said it, and we'll see what we can do. I don't know as far as do you want just internal, initially speaking to administration,
Yes.
speaking to teachers?
Yes.
Okay.
See, what I'm thinking.
We could shoot for November, and I'll let you know in October where we're at. It's probably gonna be December.
I would say January.
Let's say January.
Let's say January. Well, you're not, I would like to make amends to move November to January.
That'll be January 2025. Is there a second on that amendment to change it from November 2024 to January 2025?
I second.
Doug is seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Proceed to vote on the amendment to change the date from November 2024 to January 2025. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those opposed? 2 opposed. The amendment passes. So the new motion is that scope of work be prepared and presented to this board no later than at the January 2025 meeting, listing the modifications and additions needed at the campuses involved in the plan, commonly referred to as the pod plan. Any more discussion?
This is just a proposal.
That's all it is.
Because
It's just a
honestly,
scope
I'm
of
not
work.
for this at all.
Yeah, it's just a scope of work.
Okay.
Anything else? All right. All those in favor of the motion to find the scope of work? No, we're voting on that. You gonna get me mixed up here. On the motion that a scope of work be prepared and presented to this board no later than January 2025 meeting, listing the modifications and additions needed to the campuses involved in the plan commonly referred to as the pod plan. All in favor, raise your right hand.
We just voted.
No, we voted on the amendment.
God, I'm lost.
All right, 5, 4 opposed, 2 against. The motion passes. Is there anything else on Jefferson Elementary School?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I just want to understand, so the RFQ that we're supposed to put out is due back in October,
Yes.
but this pod plan is a whole separate game plan, so we're gonna have to pay to bid it out and all that.
Yep.
Is that still something that's on the table to do the RFQ?
No, that's just an internal thing. We're just getting a scope of work. Dr. Arnold and his staff is giving us a scope of
Okay.
work.
So
We're
the-
not hiring anybody or doing any firms at this time.
So the RFQ, if we have it back in January, you normally get the whole, you normally respond to someone at least within 60 days at that point. So I guess where I'm going, if you're meeting in January on another option for the pod plan, do we want to do this RFQ this early in the game? Yes, okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Anything else on Jefferson Elementary?
I think, you got something?
Go ahead.
I think the figures need to be accounted for before you comment about things. I heard the comment on $11 million for the school, leaving us with $2 or $3 million. I think everybody ought to know the figures before they quote on these things.
I just have sort of a random question. So a few weeks ago, there was the news station, I heard OSHA, EPA and everything, made a public statement and everything about how that all turned out. Did they do inspections on the Jefferson Elementary School? What were the results of those inspections that they did?
They did walkthroughs, they filed reports, State Fire Marshal, EPA, OSHA, all of those filed results and made recommendations. So the EPA was that some signage was not available in a boiler room access tunnel that goes under a building, and they asked us to post that. Our plans were all in order, and they approved of those plans that we had in place. They asked us to update a website posting that is notification of asbestos in certain buildings and that plans are available. We updated that plan. The State Fire Marshal is looking at some of the steps outside of the fire escape windows. They're not sure that, I'm not sure that they're going to allow us to even keep those. We're looking at that, so they've looked over that at the time. But they'll make that determination on those steps if they're allowable or not. But there was no major findings in the environmental or anything of that nature that we have to correct.
So was Jefferson Elementary in compliance or out of compliance of any of the inspections that they had done?
Just the signage that
That
needed to
was
be posted and the website that needed to be updated.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was it.
Thank you, I appreciate you clarifying that. All right, the next, on number 5 is the property behind Talbot Elementary School. Is there a motion on this?
Yeah, I would move that we authorize Tommy to explore that option of, purchasing the property behind Talbot High School.
Elementary School. Is
Not
there a second?
Yes, Talbot Elementary.
Paul has seconded, so the motion is to allow Tommy to pursue looking into Talbot Elementary property behind Talbot Elementary School. Any debate, discussion? All right, all those in favor of allowing the director of schools to pursue talks on Talbot Elementary School, please raise your right hand. 7-4-0 against. All right, that moves us to Jefferson County Fair. And I believe, like they said, there was a request in here, and I think they had, we the members of Jefferson County Fair Association would like to make a request to extend our lease to a 1 to 5 year lease and internally take full responsibility to maintain the grounds. I mean, y'all have read that, so is there a motion on the fairground?
I make a motion to put it on hold for a time.
There is a motion, all right, so is that table it for how
The
long?
motion should be to postpone it indefinitely.
Postpone it indefinitely. All right, is there a second on the motion to postpone indefinitely?
I'll say.
It's been seconded by Coach Bradley. Any debate on this? Yes.
I feel like until we figure out what we're gonna do
Yes.
with the elementary school
There you
right
go.
now, we need to put a hold on it just for now. Once we figure out what we're gonna do, I'm all for the fire. But let's get this school figured out here real quick.
Anything else?
No questions. We're gonna postpone that indefinitely?
You want some?
We're postponing it indefinitely? Is that what?
It just doesn't put a date to it, it can be brought back anytime.
He explained there.
It doesn't do
Bring it
away
back
with
up
it.
once we figure out what we're gonna do with the elementary school, we can bring it right back over here. That's what we're gonna do. It's just on hold until we figure out what we're gonna do with school.
And anybody can bring it back up.
Yes. Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I think we can go ahead and approve it, under the same terms as last year, because we can cancel that at any time up to a certain point. So, in other words, in there is a cancellation clause, and I think we can cancel that up to, what is it, March, February? For any reason. Is that, was that in the there was something in the last thing that, this is subject to cancellation, up to, a certain time period. I think it was February or March. After that, just so they can hire vendors and things like that, it becomes a binding contract. But I believe in the existing contract, it says that, we, for any reason, can cancel that contract up to a certain date.
I don't know what the date is. It is in there.
Yeah.
I've not reviewed it.
What was that?
That we can cancel.
If we approve a contract, we have up to either February or March that we could cancel for any reason, if in fact we need the fairgrounds for some other reason, for the portables or something like that. So, I would propose, that we go ahead and, that's not the motion, but my rationale is that we approve, the contract under the present terms, which give us the opportunity to cancel it up to February or March if we feel we need to do that. So I would be against, postponing the vote indefinitely.
I would like to request a hard copy of this contract. That was in my hand, please. You have a copy for everybody?
No, I just have the one. I mean, I have another copy for myself. That's a copy of it.
So normally how this has worked in the past is the board authorizes the approval to enter into contract, and then we develop and authorize those contracts based on.
It says here, termination of landlord's rights. This lease may be terminated by a landlord without cause at any time upon 120 days written notice to tenant. Further, if proceedings are commenced against or by a tenant in any court under Bankruptcy Act or the appointment of trustee or receiver of tenant's property, which be default of payments specified or any part thereof, or other payment here under for more than 10 days after written notice. So I think the 120 days is the. Any more discussion on this?
Yes, I have another question. When
Yes.
was that
This was
document approved last?
December 2023 update. And it was signed. It was signed by the director 12/18/23 and the tenant on 12/8/2023.
Okay. So the fair happened this year?
Yes.
Had the fair?
Yeah, this was for this one. Perfect. Any other discussion on the?
I like the fair. I want to see it stay. I know that, there's a possibility of needing that land or using that land. Until we actually make a decision to use that land or need that land, I think we still fulfill the contract for next year. And if we deem it that we do need that land for some reason to use it, I think at that point, I think it's written in there pretty easy, but we just need to give them some notification. I'd hate to not sign that.
Hey,
We have voted. Yes.
I have a suggestion. Have I used my 2 times yet?
I'll let you. You got a lot of good things to say.
I have a suggestion. I don't foresee that land ever being used for anything by the school system. Why don't we sell it to the Fair Association and be done with it?
I think
When
we were
we have the,
we got a vote on the postpone indefinitely right now.
oh, I forgot that.
It's a motion.
Sorry.
Is there anything else on the postpone indefinitely?
That would postpone it indefinitely.
Rick?
I'm in theme.
All right, all those in favor to postpone this contract indefinitely, raise your right hand. All right, 2, 4, those against, raise your right hand. That'd be 5 against. So, is there anything else on Jefferson County Fair? Mr. Davidson?
I propose that we approve or renew the existing contract for 2020, the 2025 county fair.
2024, or 2025 county fair?
No, 2025, that's what it will be.
2025, all right. So Mr. Everson has proposed to renew the contract at Jefferson County Fair for 2025.
There should have already been a motion on the floor, or we could not have postponed. You had to have a main motion already
He already
to postpone it indefinitely.
Yeah,
Was it
it's
not a
just the
main-
whole idea of postponing it.
There was no main motion.
Well, I go back to whatever my original motion was, that we renew the contract for the existing contract as it stands for the 2025 county fair.
Do what now?
We renew the existing contract.
Well,
We gotta have a
there
second.
has to be a main motion
I'll second.
before you can postpone it indefinitely. Was there a main motion already on the floor? My question.
I suppose there was, so.
Yes, mine.
That was my part.
There was.
You brought it
Well,
up, you didn't make a motion.
Yeah, he brought it up, and there wasn't a motion made. The microphone.
So we have to vote on whatever motion he made first.
Yes.
He can't keep making motions.
He didn't make a motion, we were just talking about it. Did any motion get made without the postponing indefinitely?
Next.
I don't think there was a motion made.
No, he brought it up at the top.
I think it
Okay,
was brought up.
let's just go with what Doug's got right here then. The postponing indefinitely was just an idea. All right, so to renew the contract for 2025 with the Jefferson County Fire. Is there a second? Paul seconded it. Anything on that? If you want to postpone it, definitely. All right, all those in favor of renewing the contract for 2025 with Jefferson County Fire, raise your right hand. 6, 4 against, and 1 against. All right. Partnership with Steel Warehouse. Is there a motion on the floor with partnership with Steel Warehouse? Motion to approve the partnership with Steel Warehouse?
And then we'll work on something to
Okay.
develop that and bring it back. So that's not, you know, full range to move forward. We won't brand anything without you all.
Yeah, yeah. Is there a second? Second. Dawn has seconded to move forward with partnership with Steel Warehouse. Any?
Dawn or Dan?
I
Dawn.
made the
Dawn.
motion, she said.
Dan.
Dee Dee.
Anything, discussion? All those in favor for the partnership with the Steel Warehouse, raise your right hand. That'd be 7-4, 0 against. All right, is there a motion for the master key issue to law enforcement?
We mixed all the motions, but I'll make the motion.
All right, Danny has moved to issue a master key to law enforcement. Is there a second?
Second.
Doug has seconded. Any discussion?
I have a question. Can those keys be copied?
No, no. Do not duplicate. We own the setup for those keys, so no. I'm not saying they can. I mean, you could. You can't take
Somebody
them.
took one to a hardware store.
No,
No, they don't.
no.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
Anything else on that?
Just curious.
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor of issuing master key to law enforcement, please raise your right hand. 7-4, 0 against. And then schematic designs for Talbot Elementary School. And could you reiterate what you were asking for there?
So I'm not, you can do whatever. It's on the agenda. You can do whatever you want to do. If you feel comfortable with the design and estimate, we can move forward. If you want to review it over the next 30 days, bring it back in October to approve this schematic design, then that's fine too. Then that's the design that we're going to move forward with construction documents on. You know, you may want us to modify a little bit or consider or look at it, but that's up to you. But if you approve the schematic design tonight as is, then we're going to move forward.
All right.
Chairman?
Yes.
I make a motion to accept that presented to us tonight.
All right.
Second.
Second by Coach Bradley to accept this schematic design for Talbot Elementary School that's been presented tonight. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. 7-4, 0 against. School commissioner input. Yes.
At the next business meeting, I'd like to place rules of procedure under new business.
Dawn has requested at the next meeting to have rules of procedure
Under new business.
added to new business. Any other school commissioner input?
That is a policy. That would have to go to the policy committee.
Policy committee. All right.
We can't take action on it
Yes.
unless it goes through the policy committee. You're talking about rule policy of 1.405, right?
I believe that's what it was.
Which one section of policy 1.405 is rules of procedure?
It's just discussing.
you'd like to refer that to policy?
The, rules of procedure, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
She wants to refer that with rules of procedure to the policy committee for review. Any other commissioner input? Yeah.
I'd like to send to the policy committee, rules of procedure for the, an invocation, instead of doing a moment of silence. Send it to the policy committee.
Policy committee, do you know which one that is?
I don't know the exact one.
I think that would be in the procedure. That would be to add that to the agenda, which is mentioned in the rules of procedure.
Rules of procedure.
So that's another.
It'd still be a 1.45,
Okay.
wouldn't it?
All right. Any other school commissioner input?
Policies can only be voted on under policies, nowhere else. Not a, right, I'm not trying to, it's just, and it has to be twice.
Yeah,
Or
they're
you
just
suspend
asking,
the rules.
they're just asking to refer it.
She's referred it, right.
Yeah.
We couldn't vote on it under
Yeah.
new business.
Mr. Chair, can I make one comment? I would like to thank all the advocates for Jefferson Elementary School for being, very civil, very polite, but forceful. So thank you for coming out and doing that, and thank you for your comments and the way you made them. We appreciate it.
Anything else? Is there a move to adjourn? So moved. Is there a second? All in favor? None. I think that's 7-0.